everyone. I'm really excited that you're here today because I am going to give you the top five expired objections and their objection handlers. Before I actually give you these objections and the handlers, I got to say a few things about expireds. They are part of the top two hottest prospects you can talk to, FISBOs and expireds. It's hard to say like which one is better. Which one do I have a higher probability of taking a listing? They're a little different. They're both equally amazing, and they're different in that for sale by owners are a lot easier to talk to than expireds, but they're not as easy as expireds for you to list them. Expireds are harder to talk to, but they're easier to list. So there's a little difference here. Bottom line is these are the top two prospects for you to find listings like that immediately. You want to walk into your office in the morning without any leads and take a listing today. Those are the two people you need to be talking to. And some of you may be thinking, yeah, but they're not easy to talk to. They have a lot of objections. This is why I'm going to give you their top expired objections and their handlers. The truth is, I have to agree, they're not easy to speak with. But how to speak with them and speaking with them is going to get easier and easier the better you become at it. So rather than saying, well, they're not easy to talk to, no, I'm just not good enough yet. Because when you commit to mastering what I'm going to give you here today, mastering, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not like, oh, well, I used what you said, it didn't work. Okay, it doesn't work for me every time either. And when I started in real estate and I started calling FISBOs and expireds, expireds terrified me. That's the truth. When I first got into real estate, I was making a lot of prospecting calls, and I called expireds and FISBOs both. I did a lot of just listed, just solds, neighborhood calls. They're all amazing. Look, there's so many things you can do to find listings. FISBOs and expireds are not the only one. There are a lot of other ways. However, for sale by owners and expireds are immediate business. Some of these neighborhood calls, just listed, just sold, speaking with your past clients, your sphere of influence, businesses, building referral opportunities. They're likely to be, every now and then you could find someone that you could list today, but they're likely to be more long-term, like a long-term situation. I'm talking about, I want business now. Where do I go? It's expireds and for sale by owners. So rather than saying they're not easy to talk to, no, I'm just not good enough yet. And putting that yet at the end of it shows you that you're committed to becoming better and better and better, learning from every single call. And I trust that the information that I'm going to share here with you today will be extremely helpful. So let's get back to expireds are easier to list than FISBOs. They're just harder to talk to. And I am referring to new expireds. An expired is only new the day that they expire. So someone expired today, they're new today. Tomorrow they're old. Old expireds are a great source of business also. It's not that you should only call them on the one day that they're new. No, old expireds are a great source of business also. But please remember, 40 to 50% of expireds relist within 3 days, 72 hours. They're back in the MLS. Obviously, there's a number of them that are going to relist within a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 6 months, whatever. So those are great sources of business also. Everything that I'm going to talk to you about today here is new expireds, because older expireds are easier to talk to. On the day that a house comes off the market, most areas in this country, that expired listing, that seller is going to get a lot of calls from real estate agents, and they're going to start early in the morning. And these new expireds, they're not happy, and they shouldn't be happy. They're angry, they're frustrated, they're hostile, they're just like fed up, and they should be. If I was in their situation after 6 months with a house for sale that didn't sell, and now the day my house comes off the MLS, I'm getting bombarded with phone calls from those. Yeah, I'm not going to be happy. The very first objection that I'm going to give you here, you could avoid this objection. I like avoiding the objection more than I like handling the objection. So the first one is, you're the 20th agent to call me today, or 50th, or I'm getting a lot of calls from real estate agents. You want to avoid that objection? Be the first agent to call them on the day they expire. So I have agents ask me, clients ask me all the time, so what time should I call? That depends. It depends on two things. First of all, speak with your broker and see what they tell you, how often you can or should call. And secondly, for you to be the first agent, it's going to depend what part of the country you're in. Some markets like Miami, agents are calling really early. There are a lot of agents. Miami is the largest board of realtors in the country. That's where I live. That's why I'm in Miami. But if you're living in a small town somewhere, maybe not. Maybe people are not, agents are not calling that early. I have had clients that I've coached in the past many years that were in small areas where, agents didn't start calling until 10. They got it easy. And I've coached agents in San Diego, California that tell me their agents calling at 6:45 a.m. I don't recommend you do that. Speak with your broker, but again, it's going to depend. The only way to avoid this objection is be the first one to call. Now, what do I do if I get this objection? Okay. I always teach my clients, anytime you hear an objection, the first thing you do is you always repeat and approve. You validate them. You make them feel like you heard, you understand, you got it. You understand where they're coming from. With a new expired who is abrupt, angry, frustrated, speaking fast, this is an exception to that repeat and approve, because you feel agitated by the way that they answer the phone. This is most new expired. They don't answer the phone when you're the 20th or 50th agent. They don't answer the phone. Hello? No. They're not like that. They're, hello? And you, hi, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, you're the 20th agent to call me today. I'm getting all these calls from agents. If you start with the, well, I understand, and repeating and approving, like, that's it, this call's over. These people have no patience for that. They are fed up. So you gotta mimic and match, meaning you gotta match their rate of speech, their emotion, which is the agitated, angry, frustrated, and also the volume of their voice. You gotta sound like they do, because if they answer the phone, now you got to be listening intently, okay? One out of 1,000 new expireds may answer the phone, even though you're the who knows what number agent that's calling. They may answer the phone very calmly and say, hello. And if you go, hi, that's not going to work. But the opposite is also not going to work. If you're the 20, and you go, oh, I was just calling. This call's over. Either way, the call's over. So mimicking and matching their rate of speech, the volume of their voice, and the emotion is the way that when you sound like they do, you subconsciously to them, you sound familiar. You're like them. People like people who are like themselves. Opposite in this case, you're totally out of rapport. Okay. So again, all of this is about a new expired. So when they say you're the 20th agent, here's how I respond. I'd say, I have no idea why all these agents are calling you. I decided to give you a call today because I am confident that I can sell your home, and I'd like to meet with you for just 20 minutes and show you exactly how I can do that for you. Would you be available today at 3 o'clock? Would 4 be better? That's it. I'm assuming obviously that they're speaking fast, they're being, in your face, and that's how I'm going to speak. And I'm going to answer their question, go directly to a close. Okay. Now, one of two things will happen when you close for the appointment. They may say, yes, that is a possibility. Well, if you want to come by, I'll hear what you have to say. I'm not going to list the property, but I'll hear what you have to say. Okay, great. I look forward to seeing you today at 4 o'clock. Then you got to qualify the appointment. What if they say no and give you another objection? I told you I'd give you the top 5, and I wrote them down. So the other very common expired objection is, no, I'm not selling anymore. To which you're going to say, oh, okay, so you're just going to leave the house off the market then? Yeah, that's right. I'm not going to sell it right now. I completely understand. And let me ask you this, Mr. Seller. If you know their name, use it. Don't call him Mr. Seller. Use their name. I like using people's first name. It's engaging. There's something very powerful about that when you do it correctly. So I just ask you, Mr. Seller, in that case, when are you thinking that you might put the home back for sale? Notice the way that I ask that is very, cool. Okay, no problem. Yeah, fine. So when are you thinking you're going to put it back? It takes the pressure off. It's just like, just wondering, sort of tonality. It doesn't matter how they answer that. It doesn't matter if they say never, next year, next month. Makes absolutely no difference. Okay. And then you're going to say, I'm just curious, Mr. Seller, if you were absolutely confident that your house would sell, would you consider putting it back on the market now? For an expired that is even remotely thinking that they, might sell, a lot of times they say, I'm not selling anymore just to get rid of you, end this call and be done with this. Okay? It's not because they have every intention of listing this house today with somebody else, but they're just fed up. So this objection is not, it's like a smoke screen. It's like, how do I get rid of these agents as quickly as possible so I don't waste my time? So when you ask this last question, I'm not going to repeat it because I don't want to be repetitive. I trust you got it. And you ask it correctly, these expireds that, just kind of saying to get rid of you, they may say, well, what do you mean? They're going to give you an opening. Or they may say yes. Remember, the first option is they may always say yes, and you got an appointment. Or they may just say, here's the third top expired objection. They may say, well, I don't know how you could be confident. Do you have a buyer for my house? To which I'm going to say, Mr. Seller, I'm not going to insult your intelligence and tell you that I have a buyer for your house because, if any agent had a buyer for your house was on the market up until yesterday. It would have sold. The reason why I'm calling you today is I am confident that I know exactly what to do to find the right buyer for your property. And I'd like to meet with you for just 20 minutes and show you how I can do that for you. Would you be available around 3 o'clock today? Would 4 be better? Notice how I'm just saying something powerful that's going to catch their attention, that's going to create some doubt, that's going to spark curiosity, and I'm going for the close. One thing that I want to say before we continue is you need to work on this, practice this, role play this, write and rewrite these scripts until you master them. Because what's gonna be like the end of these calls for you with new expireds is hesitation. When they're speaking like that and you go, it's over. Okay. They hang up on you and it's done. And there's a reason for that too. Think about where they're coming from. They wasted 6 months. They're being bombarded with phone calls from agents. The seller is looking for a confident agent, someone who sounds like they know what they're doing. I got this. Lead them down a path and let's go. They're, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Mastering this, though, will make you a fortune. So it's worth the time. It's not going to happen overnight. Every wage agent just wants overnight, like, heal me. I wish I could do that. Okay. Could make a lot of money if I could just heal you and make you sound like this without having to put in the work. I started saying earlier, I was terrified of expireds when I started calling them. My first year in real estate, I'm like, why are these people so crazy, so aggressive? Why they're so loud? They're like, and I didn't know how to respond. How could I know? I had zero experience in real estate or in selling anything. So this was a process. It took some time. How much time? I don't know. It depends on the time you put in. Whatever you put in, you get out. If you put in 5 minutes a day, it's going to take a long time. If you're practicing every day, if you're role playing every day, if you're committed to it, you're making a lot of calls every day to expired, you're making mistakes, you're learning from it, you're doing every day a lot of it, you're going to start getting this really quick. And when you do, there's a fortune out there for you to make with these expired. So the last one I gave you is, do you have a buyer? And then you close. If they say yes, great. What if they give you another objection? Well, what is it that you're going to do different? Ooh, I love that. So you say, Mr. Seller, that is a great question. And that's exactly why I'd like to meet with you for just 20 minutes so I can show you specifically what I'm going to do differently to find the right buyer for your home that will pay top market price. Would you be available for 20 minutes around 3 o'clock today? Would far be better. Okay. That's one way. I mean, there's different ways. I said to you in the beginning, master these that I'm giving you here, one for each objection. And then eventually you want to have 3 handlers for these 5 objections, which is a total of 15. And when you have 3, if they say no and they give you the same objection, you have something else to come back with. Okay. For now, you got to start with 1. Go master the 1, because just this 1 that I'm giving you for each of the 5 will change everything for you. Master this, you're going to start setting appointments. And these expired appointments, you go on them and you make a great presentation. These listings are yours. Expireds are immediate business. Most of the expireds I listed when I was selling real estate, starting my 3rd year, because my first 2 years was like huge learning curve. So I don't even know. But starting my 3rd year, that's when I started feeling like, I think I got this. I think I know. I wasn't great at it yet, but I started feeling more and more confident, like I got this. 80% of the expireds that I listed were same day. Was new expired, call them in the morning, go list them in the afternoon. That's what it was for me. And it can be like that for you. Starting my 4th year, I was listing around 50 expireds a year, 100 FISBOs, 50 expireds a year. And most of them were same day listings. So is it worth it for you to put in the time to really master this stuff? I mean, listen, time is going to pass anyhow. You can be doing different things to get business, but is this something that you really should dedicate the time to master? It's a no-brainer. Okay, top listing agents in this country, they know Why do you think so many agents call you expired? Because agents know they may not know what to say and how to handle objections, but they know, I got to go after this sorts of business because these people, they want to sell. So there you go. Now, I already gave you the what you do differently. The last one that I wrote down, top 5 objections. Well, why didn't you sell it when it was listed? And what's interesting, I put this in a certain order here. Obviously, you're not going to get them in the order that I gave you, but it's possible that they keep giving you one objection after the other. So why didn't you sell it when it was listed? Mr. Seller, that is a great question. And quite honestly, it's not that I was ignoring your home. I just didn't even know that your house is for sale. And I know you may be thinking, well, my house was in the multiple listing service. How come you didn't know? Aren't you an agent? Yes, absolutely. See, the thing is, Mr. Seller, in our multiple listing service right now, there are thousands of residential properties available for sale. So it's not like I was ignoring your home. It's just that your agent didn't contact me to let me know about your house. And I spent the last 6 months finding buyers for the sellers who hired me. Now, that's what you would expect an agent to do for you, isn't it? They can't say no to that. Okay. That's going to get you, well, I guess. And that's exactly why I'd like to meet with you, Mr. Seller. I specialize in selling homes that other agents didn't sell. And I want to meet with you for just 20 minutes and show you exactly what I do differently to get houses sold in today's market. Would you be available today around 3 o'clock, or would 4 be better for you? That's it. You got the top 5. Let me say this. Um, I'll repeat because this is important. In the beginning, when you start using this stuff, obviously you're not going to sound like I do. There's going to be some hesitation. You're going to be learning. This is how you learn. You don't learn any other way other than practicing and doing it. But remember, the less you hesitate, the better chance you have. And the mimicking and matching is critical. I'm repeating some things that I said because you need to, as you start making these calls every day, I don't want you to think, well, this doesn't work. No, it does work. It's just that you're not great at it yet. And you're going to learn by doing it. There's a quote I love that says, for the things you have to learn before you do, you learn by doing that. So every single call you make, you either win or you learn. You're going to either set an appointment, which you will, because I remember my first year, even though I was rather terrified of expireds, I set some appointments. I'm sounding as awful as I did when I started. I made so many calls and I was doing it every day, every day. It was not like, well, people hung up on me, so I'm going to quit. This doesn't work. Well, that's the attitude of a quitter. And I assume that that's not who you are, or you wouldn't be here. So the attitude of winners is they stay with it, they stay at it, they're practicing, they're role playing, and they're taking massive action every day, and they're getting better and better and better. Every call with a new expired that you don't set an appointment with is an opportunity to learn. And when you learn something from it, the next call is going to be better. And the next call is going to be better. And every day you're getting better and better. Now, everything I gave you here is for new expireds, because old expireds they could give you some of these objections. And you're going to handle them exactly the same way. And old expireds are a great source of business too. I'm focusing on new expireds because they are tougher to speak with. These old expireds, they're going to be a little more chill. They're not going nuts because their phone is ringing off the hook in the morning. So it's going to be an easier conversation. When you learn how to and master speaking with the toughest ones, the easiest ones is like, okay, I got this, right? That's the reason why I'm putting my focus on this. But you may hear the same objections. You'll handle it the same way. Just make sure you're mimicking and matching, because an older expired may be kind of, speaking a little softer, and you're not going to go, wah! because you're going to scare the heck out of them. Okay. And that's not going to work. They'll hang up on you just the same way that an abrupt, agitated expired will hang up on you if you're like, yeah, so neither one will work. I trust that you learn a lot and you're going to implement what you learned here. Get out there and set a lot of expired appointments, take these listings, help these sellers because they do need the help of a great agent. And in the process, you're going to make a fortune.